Point AFR Talk. And ladies and gentlemen, Brian Fisher is my name. The program is Focal Point Network AFR Talk. We do our best to keep you abreast of breaking news. Now, I have not read this story, but it grabbed my attention. I want to pass this on to you because we want you to be the most informed radio audience in America. Here it is on Fox News. 7 people have been charged with smuggling. What they have been smuggling to China were fish bladders. So 7 fish bladder smugglers trying to get those into China. They have been apprehended and are going to be prosecuted by our federal government. So consider yourself an informed and up-to-date listening audience. And while we're on that topic, got a story here from Fox News from yesterday. Actually, this is from about a week ago. Thousands of giant snails causing problems for Florida homeowners. Did you see this? South Florida residents are being warned to be on the lookout for one of the world's most destructive invasive species, the giant African land snail. Get this, it can grow as big as a rat. A snail as big as a rat. They're catching 1,000 of these a week. I wonder if they have those snipers out there. Remember how China has those snipers going around with those take out those giant rats that are the size of small dogs? Anyway, the can grow as big as a rat. They're catching 1,000 a week in Miami-Dade County. And more, here's the good news, more will continue to emerge from hibernation in the coming weeks. Now, here's why they're a problem. They chew through stucco and plastic. So stucco to them is like a snack. It's like food. They attack over 500 known species of plants, pretty much anything that's in their path. You know, so some animals, something's in their path, they'll go around it, they'll go over it, they'll go under it. These snails just eat it. If it's in their path, doesn't matter if it's the wall of your house, they will eat it right up. The snail's shells blow out tires on the highway and turn into hurling projectiles from lawnmower blades, while their slime and excrement coat walls and pavement. Now, one of these typical rat-sized snails can produce 1,200 eggs a year. And they're a particular pest in homes because of their fondness for stucco. Apparently, they go for the stucco because they're looking for they just want a balanced diet. They got calcium in the stucco. They're going to eat it right up. The snails also carry a parasitic rat lungworm that can cause illness in humans, including a form of meningitis, which makes me very happy that I do not live in South Florida. Well, let's grab a phone call. Let's go to Linda in Bowling Green, Virginia. Linda, welcome to Focal Point. What's on your mind?
Thank you. Thank you, Brian. I've been pondering the last couple days with the liberals and the Democratic Party always clamoring to take God and religion out of our schools and our government and our daily lives. Why is it when a national tragedy happens, they pray to God and quote the Bible scriptures and also go to the religious institutions, the churches, and pray and do this, but they want to take it out of our day-to-day life and our laws.
Well, you know, that's a fascinating observation, Linda. That's a fascinating observation and very insightful because, you know, what immediately made me think of, Linda, is when President Obama went to Boston to the memorial service they had, which they had in a church.
Yes, sir.
Here's the President of the United States going to participate and speak from the pulpit at this church service. Where's the separation of church and state? I'm not seeing it.
I'm not either, and I've been asking my husband, and he says, well, you need to contact people, and your radio show today, it was like, oh my gosh, I think that's just the time to call.
Well, you know, and I appreciate it, Linda, because you know a number of times in his remarks, I mean, President Obama could not stop quoting Scripture.
Exactly.
So if the Bible is fine in those circumstances, in other words, what they're saying, the Bible is fine in our time of greatest need and challenge, But the
we
rest of
can't
the
run
time,
to
but the
him
rest
or-
of the time we can kick God to the curb. We got no use for him. We don't need him. We're only going to even acknowledge him when we are desperate and up against some kind of a tragedy. And like you say,
Exactly.
if God's good enough for the tough stuff, why isn't he good enough for the day-to-day stuff? All right, very good, Linda. That's a great call, very insightful. Let's go to Jeff, Wintersville, Ohio. Jeff, welcome to Focal Point. What's on your mind?
Yeah, praise the Lord, Mr. Fisher. How you doing today?
Doing good. How are you?
Oh, well, honestly, I've got a little bit of a problem now. I will confess beforehand that I haven't been listening to AFR over the past couple of days, so this may be a moot point, okay? But I would hope that the topic and subject of it would carry more than a couple of days rather than these sound bites about snails and fish bladders. No disrespect. What bothers me the most lately, as I've been reading, on your website and all that, I listen to it frequently over online. Is the visas for the terrorists and the sideline scenes. But during Boston, we had 9,000 plus police officers. No warrant in hand, no probable cause, reasonable suspicion, et cetera, just violating our Fourth Amendment rights. Not to mention the number of military police involved. So let's just throw the posse comitatus out the window, too, and use the Bill of Rights as a bothers me is that we hear all these other things, and this issue just goes like out the door when this affects every single American in this country.
All right, Jeff, let me ask you this question. How do you think the search for those guys should have been conducted?
How do I think the search for this guy should have been conducted?
Correct. You got a guy that just killed 3 people. He wounded all 100. 15, 20 people lost arms and legs. The guy's loose. In your community, what do you want done?
Well, for starters, I would not want to assume that everybody is a criminal, okay, in the search of an actual criminal. That's number one. Two, I'm getting Hurricane Katrina flashbacks when the National Guard came in and took away the guns of people.
Jeff, let's get back to my question. What do you want done? I hear everything you don't want done. How do you want the search? How do you want the search to be carried out?
Within the law.
So what's that mean? Tell me what that means. What does it mean to conduct that search according to the law in your view?
In my view, what it means is he doesn't trample the rights of the other 330.
Well, Jeff, we know what you don't want people to do. What do you want the police to do to get this guy before he kills 3 more people and blows up another 300 people and takes the limbs off another 15, 20 people? What do you want the police to do to get this guy?
Well, see, that's the problem there, Mr. Fisher, is that I am not a Leo, okay? I am not in charge of search and rescue, arrest and apprehend and all that stuff.
Well, let's assume for the sake of argument, I mean, Jeff, you're pontificating about this like you're a constitutional expert. You know exactly what should not be done. So you got plenty of opinions about what shouldn't be done. I'm asking you, let's put you in charge of the search. What would you do? You're the police commissioner of Watertown or Boston or wherever. What do you do to get these guys?
Other people. You're strawmanning me. That's what you're doing. Okay?
No. I haven't straw. I'm just asking you what you would do. Guys, that's an honest question. What would you do to get these guys?
I told you, sir. First off, I'm not a constitutional expert.
No, you haven't told me, Jeff. You have not told me what you would do to get these guys. That's what I'm waiting for. What would you do, Jeff? Jeff, hold on, Jeff. I'm asking you. I'm going to give you 60 seconds to tell me how you would conduct the search for these guys that killed 3 people, took the limbs off another 20, put 300 people in the hospital. How would you? I'll give you 60 seconds. I won't interrupt you. But I want you to answer my question. What would you do to get these guys?
Okay. When Chris Dorner, however you pronounced his name.
Hey, we're not talking about Chris Dorner. We're talking about these Muslim bombers in Boston.
You just told me you wouldn't interrupt me. I'm trying to answer your question.
Well, you're talking about Chris Dorner. We're talking about the guys in Boston. What would you do to get them?
Well, if you let me finish, you'll see the connection. Okay, can you keep your word and just be quiet for 60 seconds and able to make an analogy here? I'll do it.
Hey, Jeff, let's not forget whose program this is, all right? You're a guest on my program. Hey, Jeff, you are a guest on my program. I can cut your water off anytime I want. I've given you more time already than any other guest I've had on this program today. You got 60 seconds to answer the question. How would you get these guys?
When they went after Chris Dorner, they did not subject people who were not involved, okay, with Fourth Amendment violations, posse comitatus, and all this. They didn't lock people down. They didn't make them stay in their homes. And this guy actually was trying to kill police officers. And they were able to do it without locking people down like criminals and violating our Fourth Amendment rights. You asked me how I would do it. I would do it probably the exact same way they did in L.A. when they had that Chris Dorner situation.
All right, Jeff, let me ask you one question. So good. You answered my question. Let me ask you one question. When the mayor of Boston told people to stay indoors, inside their houses and lock their doors, that was for their safety. Would you be in favor of letting them mill about freely with a massacre murderer on the loose? You'd be fine with no warnings being given to the residents of your city. Go out there and get shredded. I'm not going to say a word to urge you to take precautionary steps.
I will answer that the way that most Republicans answer the Democrats, and I'm not either or. I'm an independent, okay? You have the right to live your life unless you are committing a crime. I don't need a nanny state. You don't need a nanny state. And we have laws on the books already that deal with these kind of problems. And now we no longer have laws on the books dealing with these problems because they are further encroaching our freedoms. We all know what Ben Franklin said. Those that desire security over the place of freedom deserve neither. And this is what we're seeing. And I don't hear too many people making a big stink about it.
Well, let me ask you one last question. The Boston Massacre bombers were Muslims. We've got a watch list of potential terrorists that is so big the government can't keep track of everybody. Would you agree with me that we need to start restricting immigration to Muslim males that want to blow us up?
I think if the war on terror was sincere, they'd start by sealing the southern border.
What about Muslim males? Young Muslim males that want to immigrate to the United States, yes or no?
Then you're going to have to start talking about profiling in a serious nature.
So that means no. All right, appreciate the response, Jeff. Thank you for that. Focal Point AFR Talk. We will be back after these brief messages. Stay with us.